Okay, Tiff, do I still have you on?
Yes, I'm here.
All righty. Well, hey, Murphy loves to play with me. Hello, everyone. I hope you're alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic about life and living. I am Elizabeth Green, the founder of the Indigo Institute of Nevada, where I work with all of you highly sensitive, natural born leaders, which I call Indigos. Li- uh, Live their best life now. And I have on my guest, and I know you can't see her, but I do have on my guest uh, Tiffany Rashel, who is an indigo. And I tell you what, Tiffany, prove that you're here.
Is that enough?
Yes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so I won't feel like I am just talking to air, which I do a lot. Okay.
Well, my name is Tiffany Rashel, and I am an intuitive coach and healer. I refer to myself as a spiritual gangster, and I'm a purveyor of love. So I work with women and reconnecting with their divine purpose and being aligned with their spirit, mind, and body selves. So, in short, I help people get the gunk out and get it moving.
Okay. And we have been trying to get Tiffany's camera up and rolling, but hey, you learn as a presenter that what will go wrong does, but we still want to make sure we get you the information because it is critical to me that you are getting the information to help you live your best life now. When I wrote my book, Building Spiritual Muscle, and Tiffany was one of the first people to read it and enter, give me a review for it, I asked her to come on. Yes, go ahead, Tiffany. I
Oh,
saw you get, yeah.
no, I'm sorry. I'm still over here clacking buttons to see if the camera would come suddenly magically pop on. So don't ignore me. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, what I can see is your image vibrating, and I can't see from your facial expressions if you were trying to say something. But anyway, um, one of the things with building spiritual muscle, I told you my story of the challenges I went through to develop and to hone my intuitive gifts. I grew up as feeling I was cursed because I saw, felt, and heard things that other people didn't. And in my day and age, you were told that if you did that, that something was wrong with you. So I have been doing a series of interviews last week and this week of other indigos so that they can also tell their story. Tiffany, did you run into any similar problems when you were younger?
Well, I think my story is quite different because I was raised with a really strong religious background. So many of us who've been raised that way, I believe, are our gifts can often be suppressed or hidden because they're often villainized. Like if you see anything, if you hear anything, it's the devil. So it's scary. So you don't want to grow up seeing nothing or hearing anything, lest you be thought crazy or possessed. And so for me, my gifts definitely didn't come out that way. But when I think about my childhood, I think about I've always had a knowing that
Mhm.
wasn't wasn't from books. Like I have a very, very strong intuitive side. Of course, it was recently I discovered that I'm an empath, but I remember as a youth, I could look at people and look in their eyes and I could tell you exactly who they were. So I didn't see auras. I just thought it was some interesting something. Like I didn't even know how to describe it. I actually never thought about it, but I just could always look at people, look in their eyes, and I could tell you who they were by character, and I could also tell you down to their name. Like I could guess their name by looking into their eyes. So that's how mine was as a youth. And then literally I got older, got married, started having kids, and I never even thought about intuitive living because I only honestly thought that it was either fake or that only a few people or certain people um, were cursed with that. If you want to, honestly know, because again, it was presented as demonic possession or something that was uh, not of God, so not anything you would really want to delve into or even pull back the veil to question, because next thing you know, you pull back the veil, you're in trouble. So that was my experience.
Yeah, and I agree totally with you. That is why I started on my search, because didn't have words to explain what I saw. I didn't have people I could go to tell me it was a natural thing, and because we were I was raised in the church, and I think many of us in our community were raised in the church. It was at one time looked at as being the devil made me do it, or hey, we got a special room for you that has pads on it, and they got a little special coat for you to put on. So, of course, you didn't want to um, to tell people that this was going on. And one of the things that I want to do is to really now that we have words to describe what's going on, now that we can, um, there are many of us that are, as I say, coming out of the closet and admitting it, is that for those that are younger, that's why I wrote the book, so that they will not have to go through the same challenges we did as youth, trying to explain or figure out and realize that they're blessed opposed to cursed. Now, Tiffany, and since I
Yes, I'm
can't
still here.
see,
I'm
and
a
since
whistle every once in a while, just to let you know.
since I can't see your face, were you ever that told that you were too sensitive or weird or even crazy?
No, not for me. Mine was, I was just always the different one. But I think that because I embraced being different and odd from such a young age, that it didn't really particularly bother me. And honestly, there were a lot of things that I just didn't talk about because I didn't have the words for it. I didn't have the scope of reference to really have a conversation about it. So, um, and then I know because I was instilled with such a fear of the spirit world, I really shut off
Mhm.
like that aspect of myself. But like I've just always liked everything outside of the box. My jewelry outside of the box, my friends outside of the box. And it wasn't like I was walking around like a punk rocker or different where you could visibly see I was different. It's just my thought processes were always different than anybody that I knew. And so I actually learned how to be a chameleon. And
Okay.
I was always myself, yet I knew how to fit into any situation. Like you could put me with a president, you could put me with a pimp, and I'd still be fine.
Okay.
I could understand the language, I could understand their vibe, I could understand them. And also, I had a very deep humanity about me. So for me, I wasn't interested in judging. I was very accepting of a lot of people and circumstances. So I think that's the way mine kind of showed up, where again, I didn't have the words for it, and the frame of reference, but my thought process and my actions were always. People knew I was going to be the one to bring home the stray. I was the one who's going to have the different type of guy. Like I know they asked me, they're like, "Do you ever like anybody who's not foreign or speaking with an accent, or just you don't ever like anything normal?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, well, whatever." So um, again, I had the blessing of just being different and really not having a family who really cared too much to to ostracize me like that. It was just like, okay, she's the different one, but it's cool.
Okay, like when we first met and I brought up the term indigo, you told me, well, I think my son is, but I don't think I am. Why did you think your son was?
Well, actually, because I had looked up the term, and well, actually, as I started on my own spiritual journey and more knowledge and awareness and consciousness opened up for me, then I saw things that led me to ask my son specific questions. And I had never asked him anything about that. I had never forced a religion on them, but I had never asked him about spiritual things in that way. And so as I started going through my journey, I was like, oh, this sounds like an indigo and this sounds like my son. So let me ask him some questions. And so one day I asked him, real random, like, do you ever feel like you lived here before? He was like, oh yeah, not a doubt. And then like a screen opened and he really expressed himself to me about he doesn't believe in time. He doesn't believe in age. He thinks it's all made up. And then the fact how deeply he can feel other people's emotions. Like it even got to the point where we were talking and he was telling me, I know my son can transmute. And so
Mhm.
I was like, wow. And then I felt just special being his mom. So being able to say, like, he was always this really deep, quote unquote, old soul as a kid. Like, he was always looking at the sky and thinking about responsibility and how he was going to help the world. And so I just felt really honored. So when I was telling you about him, I was just really excited that, heck, my kid is like, I always thought he was special, but hey, there's something special about him for real.
And when I suggested that you take the test, the assessment that I have over on my website, what did you discover about yourself?
Well, the reason why I liked your test was because yours was the most comprehensive that I had run across. Because I actually looked up, like I said, I had been investigating and had learned about star seeds and indigos and different stuff. And so, because of my age, that's also why I didn't think I was an indigo. Because everything that I saw actually referred to a younger generation.
Hmm.
And so when I took your test, it was the most comprehensive one that I've seen. And that's when I was like, oh, there's levels of indigos. There's some that came for this time to do this, and then some that came for this time to do that. And it made perfect sense. And it lined up with what I was experiencing emotionally, spiritually. It lined up with even my whole demeanor. So then I was able to see, oh, okay, I'm an indigo too. So that was really cool. I appreciated that the most about your test.
Good. Now, you used and for those of you who are listening, you can always go over to my website and be able to get that short assessment and the ebook that explains the different traits by signing up for my 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 mailing list. And you can go over, the website is kelizabethgreen.com. Finding it a little difficult talking to a screen. I sort of like it when you vibrate, but anyway, you use the word transmute. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so my understanding of transmute is actually being able to experience not just another person's emotional feelings, but also their physical feelings. And so, and physical, yeah, in a way where you feel like you're in their body. And
Okay.
so, for my son and his explanation to me, um, I'll share a particular incident. And he was saying how anytime he concentrates on something, he can literally feel it. And so he said one day he was inside a restaurant and he was watching a homeless man on the street. And he said he looked at the man and he was just looking at him and studying him. He said the next thing you knew, he's like, Mom, I was in his body. And he's like, I could feel his emotions. I could feel what he ate that day. I could feel the people walking by him. He said, I could literally feel the cold air going through his jeans. And so then I was like, oh, that's deep. Like, what did you do? He's like, oh, then I backed out. And he's like, and then I wasn't there anymore. He's like, but, you know, he felt more than just the emotional part of it. He was able to get the physical feeling and sense of the person he was looking at.
Okay. Then in that case, many indigos can do that. And that's why I asked you to describe exactly what you meant by the term, because that's the problem, I think, is finding common words to describe our experiences. You said that you heard about star seeds and um, crystal and such. I really think it is people who are tuned into this higher vibration. The vibration of the third eye, that
Most definitely.
that it's that vibration. It's why we see the aura of purple and blues, because they are using the higher frequencies. And when you're tuned to the higher frequency, that you freely manifest, you are able to access your gifts. Now, why did you doubt your gifts? We had a discussion about it, but let you share it with our.
The short version is I just never felt that special. That's the shortest version. Like I just never felt that special. And so it took me a while again on my spiritual journey as more things and more understanding started to open up that I realized we're all special. And it's a matter of the way our gift was given to us in order, to show up. And then
Mhm.
it is what we allow and it is what we're open to receive. And so in the beginning, like honestly, I could just never imagine that type of impact, being able to be that impactful in this world in that type of way. Like it just seemed really far fetched and impossible to me. And I was content to be, the
Normal.
mother of somebody who's that, that amazing. Um, but again, now I'll share, of course, as I've gone deep, deep in my journey, I've discovered that not only am I special in that way, but part of my specialty is helping other spiritual people be guided and be able to accept their gifts, understand them, and get layman's terms that aren't scary and doesn't sound like the boogeyman or super woo wooville, that people will say, oh, okay, I can relate to that. I understand that. It makes sense to me. Okay, now I can relate it back to a tangible feeling that I felt or a thought that I thought, instead of floating out in universe and just going, I can't digest it because I can't understand the words, I can't understand what you're saying, and I can't imagine it's true. So I think for me that's like a perfect placing, because I understand that feeling of not believing that it was that is out there like that, like really, like we all have these gifts and powers, but then that each one of us actually has them and has access to them and the ability to change humanity by expressing them and getting in touch with them.
Wow, you just said a mouthful. And that's exactly the reason I do what I do, is because I want others to waken up that you are special. You did come here for a reason. And it is that particular time to now begin to utilize your gifts, to really take off the veil, come out the closet, uh, admit that you are special, and but that special is normal, and that there are essential skills that if you know them, you can make a difference on this planet. Um, and in my opinion, we really need to have you to make a difference on this planet. Let me take a sip. But Tiffany, tell us about what you're doing right now. I met Tiffany online, and at the time when I met her online through another live stream program that we were using, which was called Blab, she was living in California. Since she's moved from California, and as my aunt said, that girl who went to Africa and helped out a bunch of women to tap into their intuition. She is now moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing personally to bring more light into the planet, Tiffany.
Um, wow, we pare this down, give you the short version. You know, that's always a challenge when we have all these aspects of us floating out here, and then we keep discovering more and more aspects as we go along. So, what I do is I do workshops and retreats, and I do individual coaching as well. I work primarily with women because I do believe that women are the core of the change that is happening and the transformation that is occurring and needs to occur in the world. But we need to heal first. So again, like I mentioned in the beginning, I do mind, body, spirit connection, but in a way that everybody can get it and wants to get it, because there's a lot of healing to be done. So again, I work with healing women. I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do chakra balance and alignment. But a majority of my work is done through transformational workshops and retreats in order to get communities of women together to know, to actually meet and actually bond under common circumstances, to be able to leave the retreat and then continue the work, continue the healing, and not just with themselves, but with their families and with other women. So I'm building legacies of connection and healing. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Now, tell us where we can, for those who are listening who want to connect with you, why don't you share it on the video? I will definitely put it in the notes so that they can follow along, but and contact you if they wish and actually see your face. Go ahead.
Okay, you can always catch me on Instagram at Tiffany Rashel, the number one. You can catch me on Periscope, Tiffany Rashel one. You can catch me on Facebook, Tiffany Rashel one, and that's the number one, not spelled out one. So all of my social media is the same. I'm on Twitter the same way. I'm actually my website was being revamped, so it should be up this week, and that is TiffanyRashel.com. So I try to make it easy to find me, but I can guarantee that if you download Periscope and follow me on there, I do a video every day called Breakfast with Tiffany. Um, And I actually do it on all 3 platforms. And it's my daily inspiration after I do my meditation and prayer. So you can find me every day, all day. Well, not all day, but every day. You can find me on social media, promoting healing and sending out positive vibes and raising the vibration to love and above.
Fantastic. I checked you out this morning on Facebook, and it tickled me because yours was the same thing as mine. I do tips well, I'm getting better because to build muscle, you got to be consistent. So I am doing it every day. I'm aiming for that. Uh, but anyway, Tiffany did hers on Write a New Story. And that's the same thing. That was the same theme my guides gave me. Write a new story. It's time for us to write a new story. We do not have to stay stuck in our own old story. We can let it go and we can begin to choose what we want to have happen in our life. So check out Tiffany giving you good tips in the morning, motivation. You can always check me out. I'm on my Facebook page. Tiffany, is there anything else that you would like to share before we end this broadcast?
Keep following Elizabeth. She's fantastic. She's very talented, and I love her dearly. She's actually become a very close friend of mine. I appreciate you. I respect your opinions and your skills and talents and gifts. And my advice to people would be, and you're gonna laugh at this, be easy on yourself. Take it easy and have fun with it. You know, don't get too caught up. Don't be too anxious. Just know that everything does happen in divine time, no matter if you are cussing out the universe. And we're all in it together. The more that we connect, the more that we grow, the more that we heal, and the more is revealed. So, just reach out and keep going. Keep swimming.
Just keep swimming, as Dory says. Why indigos doubt their intuitive gifts is because we want it to happen so fast. If you think of it of building muscle, you can't lift 50 pounds if you can't go out and lift 50 pounds if you haven't been able to lift 5. So as Tiffany says, lighten up, have fun on the journey. That's what it's supposed to be about, having fun. So until next time, and I've got a couple of back-to-backs. I'm going to be doing nutrition with Karen Campbell. I am going to be talking about how to protect and renew your energy with Anna Marie New. So stay tuned. It is my goal, it is my passion to bring you both the resources and the people who will help you live your best life now. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Tiffany. I know you were real busy, and I really appreciate you getting us in. And for everybody else, may light, love, and plenty of laughter follow you on the path. You can always reach out to me at my website, K. Elizabeth Green. Until next time, you have a blessed one.